Coming up on this Memorial Day edition of the Upper One Podcasts, I just put an impromptu episode together, just a quick catch up. It's been a little over 2 months, so not a lot, just a few comings and goings of what's been happening and what's happening in this next few weeks. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.
And now podcasting from the great state of Alaska, this is the Upper One Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to this episode of the Upper One Podcast. I know it's been a while, just a little over 2 months, I believe. You know, it just seems like the Iditarod just finished up. My hockey season just finished up, and I haven't really had a chance to sit down and make this recording for this, that, or the other. Part of the reason was I wanted to have the twins sit down and be a part of the next recording, which hasn't worked out yet. But maybe in the next one, as well as getting busy and preparing for the summer. So I've kind of been real busy. One of the things that we did today being Memorial Day, May 30th, 2022, last weekend, we had, as most of you know, my wife Shanna was previously married. She has children from that marriage, and she also has a lot of wonderful friendships that she had made during that time. One of which was family that, you know, was also in the military. Their daughter lives up here still, and they came up. Their daughter finally got married, so we had spent some time with them while they were here for their daughter's wedding, as well as attending that wedding and their little barbecue get together the next day. So that was part of the reason. The other reason is my stepson, Shanna's third child, he's finally getting married. Trevor and Tori, they will be getting married July 2nd. So we're planning for that. And it's a big deal because we were asked to decorate. So the decorating crew is my wife, myself, my sister-in-law, Stacy, who's coming up from Arizona, and my stepdaughter, Erica, who's coming up from Spring, Texas. So basically it's Erica, Stacy, Chris, Stacy's husband, Chris, Shanna, myself, and then I'm going to have Tristan and Kaylee that weekend. So that Friday when we go, we're going to be decorating the Palmer train depot for the wedding. So yeah, we've been busy. Lots of stuff on our plate for this wedding. Erica's already sent out all the wedding invitations, as well as she's picking up decorations down there. We've got, you know, the colors for the wedding that Tori picked out, as well as the, you know, what she wants to do with, you know, the decorations. But for the most part, she is not going to see any of this put together. Now, she knows what we're doing a little bit. Like, I've brought home hundreds of pounds of wooden pallets from work, chopped them up, and built them into basically 3 different size. I would call them wooden milk crates. They're not really milk crates, but, you know, wooden style crates that we're going to use to decorate. So one of the things they do live out, and they're the ones that live out in Palmer. They've rented the Palmer train depot, which is more, you know, it's not active anymore. But one of the things with Palmer, being that this is the train depot, Palmer, Alaska reminds me so much of the town in my area from my hometown is called Hurley. I have experience with growing up around the trains and stuff like that because my grandfather, my dad's dad, had retired. He'd worked and retired from the Santa Fe Railroad back home. And, I've lived up here 30 years, and every time I go into Palmer, that's all I can think of because both of those towns are real similar in the way the town was built and how the town is built. Although Hurley is still kind of more like a mining town, there were smokestacks there that were part of the mining facilities there. It's still, to me, the buildings and the way that everything was built is all still the same. The ranch style, the buildings are like that. The siding, even down to the siding, everything reminds me of Hurley that's out here in Palmer, minus all the newer modern stuff that has been built since then. But I've lived up here 30 years, and that's every time I go into Palmer, it's almost like being like home. So we got all that, and one of the other main things too is that I was asked to DJ the reception, and I think I'm working on making it possible to have the at least some sort of PA system for the wedding, because they're getting married. As long as the weather's good, they're getting married outside in their yard at their house. So I'll need a PA system to, at least play like the wedding march and whatever else she's wanting to do during this actual ceremony. And then the train depot has its own sound system there that I will be utilizing. So we've been busy. Like I said, we've got people coming up. They're going to be here helping out with that. My sister-in-law, she's making the cake. And then hopefully, like I said, during this, when we're decorating, the only people that are going to be in there is just the select few of us, because my wife wants to have that awe factor for when everybody comes in and sees it. So that way, there's no, oh, well, we should have done this, should have done that. This is going to be a big surprise, and it's going to just knock their socks off. And so, yeah. So with that being said, I did check I checked the phone a while ago at 3 p.m. here in Eagle River. It was 70 degrees. And, with this being Memorial Day weekend, I wanted to talk a little bit about that here. So part of the plan, while everybody's here during the 4th of July weekend is, we're doing some tourist stuff with everybody. So I will take this break real quick before I get too long-winded, and I'll come back. I'm going to talk about one of the places we're going, and as I've talked before, is Seward. And one of the things they do in Seward, some of the stuff they do in Seward, I'll talk about that. As well as, with this being Memorial Day weekend, we're almost to the end of May, and some of the weather and some of the stuff that's been going on, just to get back into this, to start my episodes up a little bit more frequent. So stay tuned. I shall be right back. All right. Well, welcome back. So, as I mentioned before, I've got people coming into town. The wedding is Saturday, July 2nd, and then Monday, obviously, is July 4th. So, last time my sister-in-law was here, they came up for Christmas. So they were here in the winter. They didn't get to see a whole lot. One of her things this time is she wants to see a moose. Well, I think I can take care of that and make sure that happens. One of the other things, though, is, you take tourists out, you take them sightseeing. I hope we can get her on the boat. My wife says she's a little bit scared of the water. So one of the things I think we're going to try to do is we're going to try to take the boat down with us to Seward that weekend after the wedding. Well, the main activity for 4th of July in Seward is the Mountain Marathon race. Seward, the Resurrection Bay and Seward kind of is a north to south line if you draw it through that, through the bay, through Resurrection Bay. So on the west side of Seward, there is a mountain. It's called Mount Marathon. And up to 30,000 people show up in Seward to watch this race. What it is, it's regarded as one of the hardest short distance mountain races in the world. It's celebrated on, during the celebration of Independence Day. It's ran on 4th of July. This course climbs 3,022 feet above sea level, followed by a fast and dangerous descent. There have been people that, as they're coming down this mountain, they trip and fall. They've come down with bloody knees and whatnot. I don't even know the extent of injuries. This is a 3.1 mile race. It has an average slope of 34 degrees and is 60 degrees at its steepest. The first organized race was held in 1915, making it one of the oldest races in the country. I guess there's some folklore and tradition of the race, which began with two sourdoughs, where they argued about the possibility of climbing and descending the mountains in less than an hour. Impossible, one of them said. So in order to settle the argument and the resulting wager, the race was held, with the loser to furnish drinks for the crowd. Enterprising merchants put up a suit of clothes and other attractions for the winner and proposed the race take place on a holiday. Why not the 4th of July? The optimistic sourdough lost his bet. The winning racer took 1 hour and 2 minutes. Today, over 1,000 men, women, and juniors take on the challenge, while the city of Seward fills up with spectators. So basically, the 4th of July weekend, you got to get down there, you got to get your camp spots, and you got to be there early. If you're visiting from out of town, be sure to plan and reserve your trip around the holiday weekend and race day early. So anyways, there's been a lot. It looks like this year, 2022, is the 94th race. So that's part of it. But like I said, the other thing we're doing is we're going to try to take the boat down there, get my sister-in-law and my brother, her husband, out onto the boat. So down in Resurrection Bay, it is, like I said, it's a north to south running bay. So as you're heading out, you're heading south. You come past a point called Cain's Head. There's Forest Service cabins and stuff like that. You can get down. You can take a water taxi down there and go camping. As you go around that a little ways, you turn back to the west some more, and then a little bit to the north once you get into this other little section of the bay where Bear Glacier is. So we're planning on hopefully being able to take them out to see the glacier, and see some ice chunks in the water. And then if you remember, when we had the Elvis Monroe on, and I talked about taking Ben Carey out on the boat, pretty much do the same thing, is go out there to Bear Glacier and then come back across past, there's two islands there. There's Fox Island, and I don't remember the name of the other one right now, but you You go back through them and to the east side of the bay through, once you're between the east side of the bay mountains and Fox Island, you're in the El Dorado Narrows is what they call it. And there's one point right there on the Narrows you got to watch out for when it's low tide or high tide. You can't see it, but there is a rock formation that actually is a mountain, underwater mountain. But we'll be going past there to some of the spots where all the birds are, where they could see all the water birds that you could think of, including the puffins. And then there's also the sea lions that just sun out there on the rocks. There's hundreds of them. So hopefully we can make that a good trip for them while we're down there. And then, catch weather. Last time I was down there, I think it was the 3rd, like around 8 o'clock at night on the 3rd, they set off the 4th of July fireworks. But as I've stated before, in the summertime, it's hard to see the fireworks until the sun goes down, and typically the sun doesn't go down all the way. So we're not getting as dark to where you get as good a fireworks show as you do down in the lower 48, where it does get dark at certain times, and the backdrop is just, where you just, all you see is fireworks. But I have to tell you this, if you've never seen it, the last time we were out, and matter of fact, from where they set off the fireworks in Seward, we were directly to the east of there, across the bay it was 4th of July weekend, and amazingly, the place we were fishing was called 4th of July Creek. So we watched the backdrop of Mount Marathon, the mountain with the fireworks, and then Seward below it. And so that was pretty cool. We got to see that. That's one of the amazing things, is to have the fireworks going with the scenery background. So with that being said, I think I'll take another quick little break, come back and tell you about what's been happening between April and May here in South Central. All right, so as I said, today is Memorial Day, May 30th, 2022. So with that being said, let me get this out of the way. I haven't said it yet, but, it says it's Memorial Day for a reason. And although we didn't know everybody, let's not forget the people who've paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to be able to live in this country and celebrate 4th of July, as I just spoke. So for those of you, Dad, I know, thank you for your service. And let's remember that we lost people who've paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we can have our freedoms. With that being said, so today, like I said, at 3 o'clock, so I've been sitting here for a little while. I checked my phone at 3 o'clock here in Eagle River, Alaska. It was 70 degrees. The warmest part of the day for us is typically around 5 o'clock. And as of right now, it hasn't changed. It's still 70 degrees. So we've had some warm temperatures. And with going, Memorial Day weekend is typically, for everybody, is typically the start of the summer season. One of the things that's happened the last 2 years is, and I believe I spoke of it earlier on another pod, was my buddy Frank Koloski that owns the Rodeo Alaska up here. Last year he put it on, and he did it again this year. He brought up livestock from Alberta, Canada, from the Outlaw Buckers. Then they put on the northernmost extreme bucking bulls. Well, I was fortunate enough to win tickets off the radio. So Shannon and she got off work early enough Saturday, and we went out and we watched the second round of their Extreme Bucking Bulls. Well, I don't remember exactly how they did it last year, but this year they got partnered in, and it may still be the same, but they got partnered in with the Discovery Channel and the Bering Sea Gold reality show, where what they did was they put on the 2 rounds, and the rider with the best score on 2 bulls after the 2 rounds got to ride the rankest bull that Outlaw Buckers brought up. And if he rode him, he got 10 ounces of gold, which is the equivalent of $20,000 apparently. I thought ounce of gold was a little bit more than $1,000, but anyways, we got out there, and one of the riders, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, while we were there, he was the first one to ride 2 bulls. Well, his name was Josh Frost. Is Josh Frost. Well, if you know the movie 8 Seconds, Lane Frost is the main character that story is about. This is Lane's second cousin. So the young kid, obviously not old enough to have known Lane, but definitely family. He was the first to ride 2 bulls, and then several riders throughout the rest of the night did it as well. And the one guy, his name was Tyler Bingham. He ended up being the highest score on 2 bulls. He got to ride the bull that I don't remember the name, but I'm pretty sure I'll get to see that bull again come December. But anyways, Tyler rode that bull, and he won the gold. He won the Bering Sea Gold. And also, like I said, they gave it to the highest scoring rider on two bulls. So Tyler ended up winning the event too. So I believe he's the one that got the belt buckle for that event. One of the things with this northernmost extreme bucking bulls in America, Frank and his crew put on last year. They got PRCA event of the year last year for doing this. So the cool thing about last year, and this is what I was getting into, last year it was a little overcast and windy and almost rainy. So it was, kind of crummy weather. This year, 76 degrees and a slight little breeze. So you did see a whole bunch of cowboys and cowgirls out there in tank tops and shorts, Daisy Dukes and whatever, with just their boots, which still blows my mind. Not putting your pants over the top of your boots, but anyway, it was nice. The weather, the whole weekend's been nice. That gets me to, what's been going on. We've had near record highs for parts of South Central Alaska this week. Highs through the Matanuska Valley will top out near 80 degrees. I'm just I guess you call it paraphrasing. I'm just kind of spot reading some of this article off of one of our local channels, meteorologist, that he put up on here. It says, for the 4th consecutive day, Anchorage and much of South Central will squeeze out temperatures in the 70s. High pressures continue across the state, which leads to continued warmth and near record highs for parts of the region. With only 2 days left in May, temperatures are expected to remain upwards of 50 degrees above the average. 15 degrees above the average for the month of May. Will close out in the top 10 warmest for Anchorage of all time. So in a month where, the month of May, we typically only see one 70-degree day each year, we're on our way to 5 days in a row, or 5 days with highs in the 70s. Also, with the continued warm and sunny conditions across the region, we see very high to extreme fire dangers. So, part of, like I had said earlier, that the wife and I are decorating for the wedding. Some of the stuff we're doing is we're utilizing local resources like stumps and stuff like that, or like we had a tree fall down in the windstorm last year that I just chopped up with the chainsaw. Well, unfortunately, because of the high fire danger and then, typical occasional winds, I cannot burn with my burn barrel, even though I have a burn permit. So they've shut that down right now. Since April 1st, Anchorage is in a rainfall deficit of just over 0.6 of an inch. So we've only barely seen, just in the last 2 months, 0.6 of an inch, with little to no rain chances over the next 7 days. So when the wife gets home today, I'm going to be loading up and taking this, because even though it's a holiday, the dump is open, and they do have it listed that the woodlot is open at the dump, so we can take all our branches and brush piles and get rid of them, since I can't burn them. It does say that the burn ban is in place. Burn permit suspension until much needed rain falls. These burn suspensions will remain in place. So, like I said, I'm SOL. The first full week of June will keep temperatures in the low to mid 70s, with highs falling back into the upper 60s and lower 70s by the weekend. Well, I don't know what this guy is. He's not their chief meteorologist, but I'm looking at my forecast through next Sunday. Today, high of 71. Tomorrow, high of 71. Wednesday, high of 73. Thursday, high of 74. Friday, high of 74. Saturday, 75. And then Sunday, 67. So, I guess it does say by upper 60s, lower 70s by the weekend. Okay, whatever. It's going to be hot. So I broke out the number 4 SPF. So I get the lowest every time, the Australian Gold suntan lotion, not sunscreen, suntan lotion. So if any of you that are listening do come up here and you want to bring me something while you come up, just go to Target or somewhere and get me a bottle of number 4 SPF Australian Gold, because I won't use anything else anymore. It's Australian Gold. Anyways, so this ridge will influence much of the state over the next week, keeping the sunshine and highs in the 60s and 70s for much of the state. The coolest locations will remain near the slope, with highs in the 30s for western Alaska and the Aleutians, which is out near the water. Imagine that. And the highs there will top out in the 40s and 50s. So with that being said, that's how Memorial Day weekend in this last week has been. It's been real decent. It's been real nice to keep the shorts on. And I was thinking this the other day. We've got a lake that I've been to several times, it's the same lake that I may have talked about catching my first northern pike out of, with it being in the 70s. And the water does stay cold, but when it's 70 degrees outside, 75, 76, then it's really nice to jump in a lake and go swimming. And that was one of the things I had hoped to maybe do if it's that hot with the twins when they do get back over here. So with that being said, like I said, I'm getting long-winded. Wanted to keep this short. Thanks again for joining me. Don't forget to like and share the social pages and all my other whatevers. I'm just having a blank in the brain right now. I'm ready to get back outside. Almost time for Papa Top again. But anyways, thanks again. If you have any comments, the email address. It's on the Facebook page. So this was an impromptu, as you can tell by my hesitation, this was an impromptu episode that I recorded. So I can't thank you again for listening, all three of you. And we will catch you next time.